Hello? Hello? Okay, so hello everybody. I'm Author AUSTIN and then I like animals, nature and dinosaurs. So most of my books are about mostly animals and nature because those are literally the things I like the most. So most of the I first got my book in Corona period. So back then I wasn't going to homeschool, I was going to physical school. I lived in an apartment, but then because of Corona, I had to stop homeschooling. I'm sorry, I had to stop schooling. So I ended up having like a lot of free time because I wasn't going to school that time because of Corona for a while, and I didn't have much to do. So I decided to explore my passions. So I decided to read as many books as I could, draw pictures because my hobbies include reading, drawing and writing. So I also decided to learn as much as I could about all animals in nature and especially dinosaurs. So one day I went for one course, or an online course about dinosaurs. After that course I wanted to write all that I have learned as like a long list of all the dinosaur names and their facts. So I wrote that down and okay. Anyway, so I wrote all those lists about dinosaurs and their facts and that kind of things. I wrote it down on a paper and I kind of liked it. I felt like this could be a book. It looked good. It felt good. So I asked my Amma and Amma said that it was pretty good and she said she would try to publish it. So that was how I began writing. But then after that, it took a while to find the person who was willing to publish an 8-year-old's book. I think most of you could agree that not many people would want to publish a small book written by an 8-year-old. So in that free time, I was decided, hey, you know what? Let me write another book. This time, it was all that I learned about plants. Now, for most people, I think plants seem boring. They're green color and you can find them on the ground. But plants are for me a lot more than that. There are all kinds of plants with so many different persons. Meat eating ones, cool ones, colorful ones. So I decided to write all of those in another book. But since I wanted people to read it, I think not that many people like to read fact books. They're kind of boring and long. So I wrote it as a story because I like stories and I thought everyone else would like to read a story compared to old big fact book, the thing you find in college in school that you have to read. So I wrote this book as a story taking place in Corona in Kerala, and so that's how my second book came. But so then by that time when I finished it, my mama had found a publisher to publish my book. So I gave both the manuscripts to the publisher. But the publisher said, same with my point, that not many people will want to read a long book about dinosaurs with unpronounceable names and boring facts. And so we published my second book first, which is a bit confusing. Then I think that's one of my first most memorable moments of my life. When we released my second book as my first book. So that time I was a bit nervous, like, did I write this book good? Did I do good? And I was also pretty excited. And I think it's my most memorable moment of my life. Then after that, I decided we published my first short book. So the book I wrote first, I published it second. So after that, I decided to write the same thing as my second book, but with a more varied facts and in a story format. It basically became like a small cartoony kind of story with a bit of little random facts, mostly about dinosaurs, sprinkled into the mix. And I published that and I became the day I found an egg. Then after that, thanks to when we released that book, an auntie named Rama Kasadi gifted me a book called A Move in the Boom. It's a book for small kids, and since I couldn't read Malayalam back at then, and now also I can't read Malayalam, I asked my Amma to read it for me and to explain it for me so I could learn. So after I read the book, after I listened the book technically, and after I did that, I thought, I could write this in English for people like me to read too. And then, with permission from my auntie also, I decided to translate A Moving Movie into Amu's Earth, my fourth book. And then that was published when I was 9, now I'm 10. So after that, I decided to make a sequel or a part 2 to my The Day I Found an Egg. It's in my third book. So I'm writing that now, and I finished writing it. Now it's going to be released sometime soon. So the most memorable things in my life when it comes to writing, firstly it was my first book release. Secondly, for the first time when a person, a random stranger, recognized me. That was pretty exciting. I did not expect that. And then the next most memorable thing, it would be all my other book releases. They were all pretty fun. So overall, I want to continue writing more books. And the reason I write books, it's to spread my message about, we have to save our planet. We are destroying it in all different ways, from left to right to back and front. From everything we do in our life, somewhere indirectly or other affects our planet. And since our planet consists of many living animals, together they are like a machine, a robot. And each piece is needed for that robot to work. So the more we are destroying the animals, the nature, the forest, the more we pollute, we are destroying all the other pieces in the robot. And because of that, we are slowly and inevitably killing ourselves. Nowadays, because of all the pollution, nowadays so many storms and hurricanes happen. The more often floods happen. To spread the message that we need to save the earth for nature and us is something that I put in mostly all of my books other than the translation. So that's my main message to everybody, and that's the main reason I write books. This helps firstly in make more people realize the situation of nature. And also, whatever money I get from the book, I'm donating it to a non-profit organization called Wildlife SOS, and I'm sponsoring a software called Kuber. So overall, how do I find writing? It's fun. It's nice. I enjoy it quite a lot. I mean, the difficulties would include grammar mistakes. Even I make a lot of grammar mistakes. And so for writing my own stories, it's kind of easier. Because wherever I feel the story is a bit boring, I can just add another piece to make it a bit more exciting. And I can change it in all the weird and wonderful ways I want to. But when it comes to the translation, I've had to work in a more limited range. I mean, I can't go changing the entire story, can I? Then it wouldn't really be a translation. So I had to work within that limit, which was a bit harder. And since I had to be translated from Malayalam to English, and I don't know much Malayalam, that was also a difficulty. But other than that, mostly I enjoy writing. So I hope to be able to publish a lot more books. Thank you.
Hasin, thank you. So I think we hope the next book in few years in Malayalam from Muslims. Okay, pen. Okay, we have to learn and write in Malayalam also. Okay.